the short agenda. All right, good evening, everyone. I'm calling to order this select board regular meeting for Wednesday, November 1st at 6 p.m. The first order of business, we have a quorum, so we're good to start. And first order of business is the flag salute. Everyone please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. That's kind of nice. So first up is going to be a public comment. It's an opportunity for anybody to voice any issues that they may have. Please keep in mind you cannot begrudge any employees, and if you do, I will stop you. And Candace, go right ahead.
Right up front, I want to say, I voted in the last election. I voted for two of you, and I'm ashamed and embarrassed that I did. Because you have not lived up to your oath of office, and you have acted most unprofessionally. We couldn't even get it matter for a $15 public interest item added to the agenda. That's insane. We're in violation of state statute for the assessors. We are not collecting personal property taxes on businesses with the exception of one, which is also discriminatory. The liability of those businesses has been heaped on the shoulders of the average homeowner in Bethel. Because you people refuse to be professional, refuse to do your job.
Candace, just so you know, the assessors board takes care of that. The select board has no authority on that.
We have one member of our board of assessors who's also on this board of selectmen.
But she is not the sole member of the assessors.
One person of the assessors is also on this board.
True.
And there's much that's going on that is in violation of state statute for this, and also it's a criminal matter because these people are personally benefiting or they're aiding other people to benefit at the expense of other people in this community. Our town hall is a wreck. People have been applying for jobs. You have positions that have been open for years. That's your responsibility to take care of. And they aren't.
It's actually not our responsibility to hire. That's the town manager's responsibility.
The town manager, there's a position for an assistant town manager that has not been filled for years, and you oversee the town manager.
So first
The people voted, please don't interrupt.
Okay.
The people voted to hire a grant writer and communications person. They voted to fund it. They funded the additional position in June. People applied for the position and they've just been left dangling. Not even so much as the decency of responding that the application was received and what the status is.
Mm-hmm.
You have an opening for a deputy town clerk. I'm not surprised the last one jumped like she did, from what I've seen. Instead of responding to those people and interviewing those people, a person was hired, an immediate family member of one of the people on the hiring team was hired with no qualifications, temporary, it's done next week. That person has to have another office person at their side the entire time to do their job, and it's not a matter of training because she's leaving. So it's gone to great expense to us, and we are not getting the services that we're deserving of. As far as I'm concerned, with the exception of one person, Pat, y'all should resign. Because you're anything but professional, and you're not living up to your oath of office to honor, to serve the laws of the state, the Constitution of the state, the laws of the United States and the Constitution of the United States, or our ordinances and such, the will of the people. You aren't doing, and none of you are doing this.
Okay.
And I thought I'd seen the worst in other towns that I've lived in, like Rumford. But you people make Rumford look like IBM.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else have any public comment today? Yes.
not really a comment, can I ask questions here?
You want to answer?
Sure, you can try. Oh, yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, just curious what happened with the special meeting last week. I was trying to follow along
Oh,
with
yeah.
the appointment of the town manager, and I think I even checked Tuesday or Wednesday online, and there was no meeting set. And then my wife just got this Facebook message, I think you had posted it now,
Yeah,
that you did go into a special meeting on Thursday
yes,
and then appointed Sharon.
we did.
It just seemed out of the blue, like, I don't know.
I'm
I
happy
was
to
kind of
explain
blindsided by it. And Sharon, I do want to say, I think the appointment is good, and I like what you've been saying at all these meetings and what you bring. The issue isn't with the appointee, but rather,
The process.
yeah.
Yeah, so here's.
I'm just unclear, and I'm sure there's probably something.
Yeah, I'm
going
happy
there.
to explain it all to you. It's pretty straightforward, actually. So, Sharon has tons of experience, I would say
Yeah.
significantly more than most of the applicants that we have that have applied to this job. And she's in the middle of a bunch of kind of unraveling of things and putting things in order and making sure that we're in compliance across the board. And she offered to extend her contract beyond the 1st. So we originally had her till the 1st, and she said, hey, I would come on as permanent town manager with a 6-month contract if you would entertain it. And we thought that that would be very much worth it. So we put a little bit of a pause on looking for the permanent town manager so that she could basically get budget season all in order, because she has a lot of experience from Freiburg and Oxford and all these other places that have the same facilities that we do. And we just thought it would be really beneficial to the town of Bethel to have her experience and her wealth of knowledge and her templates to kind of go into this next budget season. And also we thought it would be a little unfair to hire someone mid-budget season who doesn't know the town, doesn't know the problems. So we thought it would make more sense to hire someone come July, and then they can have a full kind of 4 or 5 month period of getting to know the town before they run right into budget.
One follow-up.
Yeah.
Did you have any applicants, and how many?
Yeah, we had quite a few. We had quite a few applicants. About
More than
10,
Yeah,
maybe
okay,
like
so
10. Yeah, maybe like 10. And some were qualified, some had no experience whatsoever. It was just kind of across the board.
Sure.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Did you have any other questions?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Not right now.
And then special town meeting, of course, I can call a special town meeting whenever I want.
Special,
Yes.
a special
Our
select board
special
meeting,
select
yeah.
board meeting, I'm sorry, not town meeting.
I think I misspoke on that.
So the chair can call
The-
a special meeting at any time, or
Cancel a
to-
meeting.
or cancel a meeting according to our code, and, or 2 board members can approach the clerk, to ask for a special, select board meeting as well, for our code. Posting is, fairly, liberal, I would say.
Yeah. But it must be.
What you need to do is is post it in the normal places that you would post it, and also with a special time, I got me saying it.
I know,
A special
sorry.
select board meeting, notify the media.
Yeah,
So it
which
can,
we did.
could go up fairly quickly if necessary, so that's what we did.
It's always on the website.
And then I did actually put a post on Facebook as well, as per requests of many people.
I did call the citizen.
So anyways, any other things for you? Okay.
Nope, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Any other public comment today? Okay, moving on to adjustments to the agenda. We do have one small adjustment, a rewrite on the motion 11C. We would like for it to say, or could I ask that it say, to see if the board will vote to remove Natalie Andrews from the town of Bethel accounts with Norway Savings Bank, Northeast Bank, and Androscoggin Bank, and add Sharon Jackson, and to sign the account agreement documents for Norway Savings Bank. So that will get all of our things in order, as opposed to just one of the accounts.
And so moved to add to the agenda.
Your second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion on the matter? All those in favor? Great. So that will be added as 11C. And then we have some other supplementals. The first, we'll add to warrants 12C to see if the board will vote to approve accounts payable warrant 2024-20 in the amount of $42,500. That was for the plowing deposit for the airport.
So moved to add to the agenda.
Second.
Any discussion on this? All those in favor? Excellent, that will be added to warrants 12C. Now, under new business, 11F, to see if the board will approve the terms of the memorandum of understanding that requires the town to maintain services for 3 years after the initial 2 periods. This is in regards to, no, but I can add, I think I am, in regards to the connectivity EMS grant and, the requirements of that.
So moved to add to the agenda.
Second.
Any questions on this? All those in favor? Great. And then the last one for new business, 11G, to see if the board will approve the town of Bethel town manager employment agreement. So we have a new updated contract from our HR director, and we'll see if Sharon would like to sign it.
So moved to add it to the agenda.
Second.
Any discussion on this? Okay, all those in favor? Unanimous again, we will add that as 11G. And that is it for adjustments. Oh, no, one more. To see if we will request the ORC to start working on LD 2003.
Move to add it as G and push the other one down.
You wanna add it
Could
as
be H.
H?
Or-
Yeah. That can be H.
Second.
We'll second it. Any discussion on this matter? Okay, all those in favor? Are you alright?
I did, where on here does it go?
It's gonna go as H. New business.
11H.
And is this one?
Which one's on it?
Sharon,
Oh, just you want to go to the architect?
No, that's gonna be in my manager's report.
Okay. So I'm sorry, let's vote on that again, because I got distracted. All those in favor to add it to the agenda? Excellent. So that will go in as 11H, please. Alright, next is a public hearing. This is the section of the agenda if you have any issue with this liquor license that you would be able to speak on it as a member of the public. I will open the public hearing for the liquor license renewal application for Downtown Bethel Bed and Breakfast LLC doing business as the Elizabeth Guest House and Restaurant located at 32 Main Street. Does anybody have any thoughts?
Is there a representative from?
There is.
I'm the representative.
It's Natasha. Hearing none, I'll close the hearing. Okay. So the hearing is now closed. We're moving on to minutes. 6A, to see if the board will vote to approve the minutes for October 11th, 2023, regular board meeting. Does everyone have a copy of those minutes? Yeah. Your motion, please?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for October 11th, 2023, regular board meeting.
Second.
Excellent. Any edits or thoughts on these minutes?
I do have an edit on page 4, section 10B. It's during the discussion of the interlocal solid waste agreement. So on page 4, maybe the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8th line down, there's a statement that says she also recommended the agreement wait until the new Bethel town manager was in place. And it seems to reference me because my name is in the sentence beforehand. It may have been said, but it wasn't myself that said it.
Okay.
So
I can move that.
sure. I did have a second one on page 6. It's oh boy, it's the 11I on page 6.
Wait for it. Is that regarding 5 Lake Court?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, just, movement of the phrase, it sounds like 5 White Court, sounds like that trailer had been there since, as of October 11th, whereas it was the abatement as of October 11th. So, and I just know because of, I didn't want to have people let it go, I believe it was still there when it was gone. Yeah, so if that phrase, as of October 11th, 2023, could be after abatement. Thank you.
Okay, do we want to approve as amended? Spelling?
Yeah, just under flag salute, you left the flag salute.
I saw that.
Oh, I let the flag
Oh,
salute.
lead.
Well, yeah, I did let it. I said, you can salute. Thanks, Jim.
It happened.
Okay, so, I guess the new motion would be to approve the minutes as amended. Say it.
Or, I need to, so I need, so I don't have to rescind.
You don't have to rescind, just amend.
I'd like to amend my motion to accept the October 11th minutes as edited.
Okay,
My second.
excellent. All those in favor? Perfect. Thanks, guys. Alright. So 6B, to see if the board will vote to approve the minutes for October 18th, 2023, regular board meeting.
I make a motion that we accept the minutes for the October 18th, 2023 regular board meeting.
A second.
Any edits on this one?
Right, it's me again. Page 4, and it's G, as we were talking about the connectivity grant. It's the 1, 2, 3, 4th line down. It says the grant has already been awarded and Maine EMS was determining which services. Just for clarity for the public, because it makes it sound like
We wrote it.
we've already approved it before it came forward. So if it could be wordsmithed to something like the grant has already been awarded to Maine EMS and they're determining.
So it's gonna be a
Yeah,
participating.
I go
Yep.
out to Maine EMS before the MA and EMS is
Yeah,
determined. which
yeah, it was
service.
already awarded to them, not to us.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
That's a good one, actually. It's the stuff that confuses me when I read notes from history.
Yeah.
So I amend my motion to accept the October 18th minutes as edited.
And a second.
Excellent. All those in favor? Unanimous. Alright, now we're moving on to 6C, to see if the board will vote to approve the minutes from October 26th, 2023, special board meeting.
Make a motion that we approve the minutes for the October 26th special board meeting.
A second.
Excellent. Any edits on this one?
It's just a typo that.
Where is
it's
it?
nothing
Which
else.
one?
It's, actually it's probably the main one, to hire Sharon Jackson as a full-time manager.
Oh, manager.
manager.
Oh, yeah.
I was like reading it over and over again, like, what's wrong?
And I caught that another place I had done
That's
that.
so funny.
Okay, I will fix that. Sarah? Oh. I'd like to amend the minutes. No.
Amend your
My
motion to
to
include,
approve
yeah.
the minutes for the October twenty-sixth special board meeting as edited.
Thank you.
Second.
All those in favor? Excellent, unanimous. Moving on to acceptance of grants, donations, reimbursements, or sales of materials. So we're 7A, to see if the board will accept or will vote to accept a $500 donation from Go Aviation Incorporated for the town of Bethel Airport. I believe that Randy Autry has told us about this one before. Does the 500 have a?
No, it's to go in the general usage fund.
I make a motion that we vote to accept a $500 donation from Go Aviation for the town of Bethel Airport.
Second.
Okay, any comments on that? Alright, all those in favor? It is accepted. Town manager's report.
Okay, so Michelle, yes, you were right, I did need to get that because I did not include it in the manager's report, so the one on the TD architect, that does need to, I am going to ask you, about that to,
To put in select board items?
yes, to vote on that tonight.
No
So
problem.
it would be 8/11.
I need to add TD architect memo to 11I.
I'll second that. I was like, where is it?
Where's the TD?
Did
we get it?
Yes.
We did get it in the
It
packet.
was in the supplemental, yeah. But essentially what it is, wait, did we get a motion in a second? I'm sorry. Yeah, we did, I seconded. So what it is essentially TD Architects years ago was hired to do a feasibility study for Ethel Bisbee. And they never got paid. And there was supposed to be a continuation of that project, in their thought process, so they were waiting, but now that the building has been removed, it's pretty obvious that we're not renovating it to be the new town office. So they submitted a bill, and we now need to look at that and kind of approve that money is going out. And this happened in 2020, just so everyone in the crowd knows. Any other discussion?
Yes, do you not finish?
It's in the pile with the town manager documents
So I'm not sure if I,
from my report tonight. Apologize for that confusion.
So do we have any more comments on this one, or can we, ready to vote?
Could you,
This is just adding it to the.
Just
agenda.
adding it
Yes,
to the
to the
agenda, and then
agenda,
we'll get to it, yeah.
Then we'll discuss it then.
Absolutely, yeah. Okay, all those in favor of adding it to the agenda? Excellent, unanimous to add that at 11I. Thought we had a small agenda, it's always a trick. Anyways, continue on with your time.
Okay, thank you. The town clerk will be mailing letters tomorrow to all committee and board members whose terms will expire, and the process to ask them to, to be reappointed will be in the letter. Notices will be sent to the, will be put on the town website and in the paper so citizens will know that committees have vacancies. Your packet does include a copy of the terms that have expired and a roster for all committees and boards that we currently have now. As of today, 109 absentee ballots have been issued and 69 have been returned. Elections will be at the American Legion from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Tuesday, November 7th. A reminder that the clerk's office will be closed that day because clerks will be working at the elections. The interlocal agreement meeting with Bethel, Hanover, and Newry is scheduled for Wednesday, November 15th at 5 p.m. at the Bethel Town Office meeting room. Our selectmen meeting will follow at 6 p.m. Chris Sanborn with Modem Waves will begin transferring our email system to the Exchange system this weekend. He will be here Monday to finish the installation. Scott Sumner and I discussed the status of the agreement between Nathan White and the towns of Bethel and Rumford. The attorneys for Bethel and Rumford have reviewed the agreement, and both were in agreement that it's okay as it was revised, and you received that copy at the meeting in September. But I'm going to follow up with Mr. White because I was just notified yesterday that he's not in agreement with that agreement. And so I will be contacting him to find out what his specific recommendations are. And then I hope to have that to you, the meeting of the 15th. Scott and I also discussed the services agreement for snow maintenance for the Bethel-owned end of the Sunday River Road and Cross Road. I'll have a new services agreement for the November 15th meeting and may be asking you to waive the bid process. The current contract price of $9,600 expired June 30th, 2023. The average increase the last 3 years was $700 a year. So if that agreement, if that $700, that would put it over $10,300. It would be about that. And then in your email, in your packets, I included an email from Bill Brunel from the Maine Revenue Service with the 2023 property tax law changes. And in your packet is a copy of the Code Enforcement Officer's reports for August, September, and October that shows the permits issued in each of those months, the address changes, and the trainings he has completed. Also are the October finance reports. So that's also in your packet. And if you have any questions about any of that, please feel free to just give me a call. And then also came in today was the Oxford County Sheriff's Report, so that's in your packet, and that is issued once a month here. The next meeting for the Bethel Regional Airport Authority is November 8th at 4 p.m. at the airport. And one other thing that's not on the list is John, the code officer, will have an update at the November 15th meeting on the state marijuana laws and how that form that we had at the last meeting, what the actual purpose of that. That is not a form, just so you know, that comes to the board. It is approved by the code officer and it is notarized by the town clerk or another notary. And so he'll have all of the procedures for how that all works at the next meeting. He's also going to be attending a training for that. So that's the end of my report.
I have one quick question.
Sure.
It may relate to this, but the next Ethel Bisbee committee meeting, when is that?
2 weeks from last night.
Yeah,
I'll give you,
I can give you the date.
November
14th.
Yeah.
And,
November
no.
14th.
Oh, right, 2 weeks first, got it.
pardon me?
No, just basic math, yeah,
So
just
that's
basic math.
So that means it would be the
Next
13th.
It's a Tuesday.
the first and third.
Okay,
So
what
the
time
seventh.
is it?
It's always at 5:15.
And is it at the library?
Yes. I'm pretty sure.
So at the library and it's on the 7th.
So they meet
Seven?
first.
7th.
Oh, I'm sorry, the 7th.
Seven?
Right.
It's
First and third
Tuesday.
Tuesday, or.
Oh, right,
excuse
because
me,
yesterday was
second
not in
and
November.
fourth.
So it's November,
7th and November
21st.
21st.
okay, so it's next Tuesday.
Yes, 1st and 3rd, it's always 1st and 3rd, 5:15, library.
Very good.
when I went, I was just wondering if it makes more sense. Can they meet here and they just?
Bethel Rec was in here during that time, and that's why we couldn't, and then we,
But it's on the second floor, which just means somebody who can climb those stairs wouldn't.
it's
be-
typically not on the 2nd floor. Yeah, they only did that, I think, because they had an event coming up, and so things were out downstairs or something. The last one that I went to, which was last year. Yeah.
The rec meets once a month, right? So if they wanted to use this on the second Tuesday, then they could, maybe, right?
I know it was talked about in the beginning, and it just felt easier.
I think there was like
just
something,
stay.
they did
Plus,
ask.
she has, what's her name, has to close up the library anyways.
They can use one.
Yeah.
I know that when they were first determining a location and a time, they asked the town manager at the time if they could use the space, and were told that there was not room. So that's why the library was chosen, but I don't know if the Bethel Rec maybe met a little bit more in the summer when there were more activities or something.
Well,
I don't know.
I think I tried to attend the Bethel Rec. Is that the same day?
It's the same day.
First
Yeah,
Tuesday.
and that, yeah. I don't know if this is a discussion for now, but it is hard. I don't know, it kind of ties in with if Chris is coming to work on, does he do the website too? Is he like?
No.
Yeah.
So, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
The FOBISD committee meets the first and third Tuesday at 5:15
Yes.
every month.
Every month, yes.
And when does the rec meet?
We had that the first Tuesday. That was-
At one point in the summer, they were meeting.
They were meeting more than
And
that.
then they could have, I guess, when it was on the program.
So let me check on some things and I'll see what the reason is that they can't meet on those nights.
Okay.
I do remember there was also conflict with getting, what's her name, closed up there and time to get over here.
Oh, Lee?
Yeah.
I don't think that's a problem because I don't think it would be, yeah, I don't think it's gonna. Cause it's
I think the library closes at
approximately
5.
30 seconds away.
Things have changed. It was
Leave quick,
easier
man.
now.
But in terms of like people knowing when those meetings are happening, it is a little hard to find it on the website because you have to
Click into
You
the
have to know to go
committee.
to the community and then calendar,
Mhm.
and the meetings that show up on the front screen when you first go on are there because they've generated an agenda, right? Is that correct? I think you told me that, Jessica, like, that if they have an agenda, then it pops up.
We do
there.
have agendas. There's
Yeah.
agendas posted, so.
So then, yeah, that's what I was wondering, if the agenda for those committees could be posted, then wouldn't those meetings pop up on the front screen so it's more obvious?
Yeah. This particular website only allows 4 new news items on the very front block at the top.
Yeah.
And then it will push other ones out, so you need to go one layer in to get other news items. Which does make it a little difficult
That
for
explains a lot.
putting meetings into that space. If there are agendas, they will come up below. Part of the issue with agendas is you have to have access to more administrative parts of the website, and that's a discussion that we've been having, we'll continue to have about that. And then those people who do those agendas have to be fairly,
yes, they're
Time.
diligent with getting those agendas on,
Yeah.
for those particular meetings. And then those would come below, like the ones for the select board. We did talk to them several times about trying to get a better calendar that was more accessible, have not really made great progress. I can certainly try and bring it up with the gentleman who runs that particular website. They tend to rely, their responses rely on those news flashes and the agendas and stuff, but for recurring meetings, a good calendar would be nice. It's just unfortunately, that's the calendar that comes to this particular website.
And
And
the
then there's one with the cloud.
Yes, I have to go on and update things and.
that's been a concern of mine, probably another time to bring it up. But yes, if there could be a different dashboard on the front of the home, of the homepage.
Yeah, and that's not, this particular website, that is their dashboard.
There's
It's
no
for-
options.
I don't think there is. This is, I believe this is a 3-year contract on this particular website, and I think we're a year or maybe a little more in. I believe it was toward the end of Loretta's term as town manager when the contracts were signed for this, or the decisions were made for this particular website. But yes, there are a few things that we've tried to figure out ways around to make it more accessible, especially with calendars, and just haven't gotten it yet. We are aware of it.
And that would be a big help if we can have the dashboard changed, because there's 2 pieces, or actually 3 pieces of information that are very helpful, just that calendar, to know where it is.
I'm gonna say right now, that's probably unlikely, but we can certainly ask him the next time. I can make a call, or Sharon can make a call to the company that runs it to see where it is.
Yeah, and the town code, accessibility, and then other services that the public use. But that'd be great if you could look into it, see if you could change the dashboard.
Sharon wants to say something.
So, my response to is, I don't know your name, what is your name?
Aaron Osterage.
Aaron, okay. So, I'm struggling with that cloud website, yes. And and the reason that you might not see an agenda up there as quickly is because I can spit out an agenda so much faster with attachments than it takes me to do that cloud agenda. I hate to say that, but it's the truth. I have to rely on Jessica, and then we'll trying to work it together. But that is such a complicated system, and the website itself, you're really limited as to how you can put information on that website relatively quickly by the administrators that handle it.
Even the backside email is
Everything.
difficult.
If you look at a lot of other websites that other towns have, they have a calendar that has everything on it. This one, apparently, we can't do that with it
Oh, bump
because,
something.
yeah,
Well, it's essentially they're piggybacking off of Google Calendar.
yeah.
Aaron?
So there are a lot of issues with that.
Yeah, the calendar in particular, so there is, I mean, I agree, we should probably have it on the front page too. But there is a calendar in like the more section, and it does rely on Google Calendar, I've noticed. Do we update that? It seems like we've put a couple on,
I try to
but-
update that, and part of the issue too is if a meeting gets changed,
Yeah, it's-
I'm not notified with very much time, like the rec doesn't
Yeah,
always
that-
notify
that's
me,
Yeah.
or if Ethel
right,
Bisbee
yeah.
changes.
certainly.
You're really relying on the committee chairs for those to make sure it gets back to us.
Yeah,
So that is part of it. I've tried to set it up so that I know that the recurring meetings just come up, but say one of those meetings gets canceled and I don't get notified, I can't go in and change it.
in particular, there's no ordinance review committee on the calendar at all, so I just thought
Okay.
that was,
It's
Inter-
not
interesting.
user-friendly, I
Right.
guess is the best
Yeah.
thing, the best way to describe
And just
it.
so the board is clear, there's 2 things. You've got the website, which is bethlehem.org, that's what the public sees, and then what Sharon's referred to as Town Cloud is the background administrative site that we go on and build everything, the agendas and things that then go on to the bethlehem.org site.
So like things for like ORC and things that are literally always the same exact time every single month. What about using the chamber's calendar, because we literally pay for that service and we do not receive it. I think it would be nice to actually get what we pay for, personally.
I'm also happy, like, I don't know if I'm allowed to help, but like, I have to go on, I go onto the chamber calendar every week to do the gem schedule, so
Yeah.
like, I'm happy to put on things if that helps, but, I just don't know what I'm allowed to do, and I'm also happy if you want, I could, cause I have to do a lot with the website, for a couple websites, so like, I'm not an expert by any means, but I'm happy to sit down and look at it and see if I can, sort of do anything, but.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think the chamber draws from ours, our website. I think it's still,
It's
goes all the way
supposed to.
back to ours.
So,
Yeah.
so what is supposed to happen in the chamber, my understanding of it was that, the town manager was supposed to give the reoccurring, so those are, that oversee the select board, the planning board, the main ones. And that would just repopulate automatically on that.
I don't see them on the calendar when I go,
Yeah.
no, but there's a link to our calendar.
Sure.
But if our calendar isn't up to date,
Then, yeah, okay. Okay, cool. Well,
I'm
a bunch to check into.
I'll call Scott tomorrow and see if I can schedule a meeting here and meet with Jessica and I to talk about some of the issues we'd like to see fixed.
Okay.
Is Scott part of the website?
I'm sorry, his name's Chris, not Scott.
Is he part of the website?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, this gentleman, Chris Hayward, is one of the individuals involved in the trade. It's a little confusing because Chris Hayward deals with.
Not our Chris Hayward?
No, Chris Sanborn deals with one side of our computers and Chris Hayward is one that does the website.
I was only
He's our-
concerned
Got it.
Yeah.
where he was coming from, that's
Yeah.
all.
Tim?
You also have an ad, or we can add, there's no place to find the application if somebody wants to join a committee. It's not on the website.
Oh, yes,
You
yes it is.
I've been searching the last 20 minutes. I
My
can't
husband
find it.
just filled out the one for the planning board.
Yeah,
and he
it's-
had
it's-
trouble.
Yeah, I know,
Yeah.
it's not, like I said,
Yeah.
it's not intuitive, but yes, I'll show you afterwards, Jim, I know where it is, cause I made sure before I put it into the website, it made up the ad, that it was on the website, and I believe it's under documents, town clerk, and it's like partway
That's-
down the
Yes,
town
that's
clerk.
where I'd work on.
Yeah,
Oh, an organization
and
hurts.
it's, what, committee, something application,
Oh, I thought, yeah.
Volunteer or something, I think. too.
Erin?
but I did try to make sure before I put it in the website.
Okay.
I mean, on the.
Don't know if it makes sense, but, if anyone wants any help or assistance with this website stuff, like, I'm happy to provide a little information, guidance, anything. I'm a professional software engineer, so I might have a bit more.
Look at
perspective.
Sharon's eyes, like, oh!
Committee
I don't know if it'll work,
It's not my
but
job, and I'm
Yeah.
sticking to it.
No, I will.
It's committee appointment application.
Yeah.
Committee appointment application.
That's hard to find.
All right.
Yeah,
And just
they're
a
all.
quick thing on that, if you can make sure that it matches the handout one. Is it- okay, good.
Okay, website, black board. All right, moving on from town manager's report, unless anybody has any other, town manager's report comments. Board committee report, old business none, now we're on to, new business, 11A, to see if the board will approve the liquor license renewal application for the Downtown Bethel Bed and Breakfast LLC, doing business as the Elizabeth Guest House and Restaurant located at 32 Main Street.
I make a motion that we approve the license application for Downtown Bethel Bed and Breakfast LLC and the Elizabeth Guest House and Restaurant located at 32 Main Street.
A second.
Any comments on this application?
It's very thorough.
Yeah, it was nice.
Thank you.
You have a really beautiful application, thank you.
Yeah, your drawings are really good.
And this one now includes the outside
The
patio.
Yep.
Right, so it would all be together in one. I just was on number 20, didn't know if the Nazarene
Yeah,
church
that
was
would be the one
close or,
that, no, it's
closer
the
than
Methodist church, I think
Methodist
you
church.
meant the Methodist church, because it sounded right.
Number 20 says what is the distance to the nearest school, church, etc. And we have down at Bethel Church of the Nazarene,
Yeah.
which is the church that is on
Go the back
the backside. But is that one closer than the Methodist church here on Main Street?
I think it would
Off
be.
the back corner,
Yeah, I bet it would be.
closer over to Church
Yeah.
Street.
Yeah.
Right through Barbie Barrett's backyard.
Yeah, as straight as
Because if
the
it-
bird would fly.
Are we walking along the sidewalks? or-
Yeah.
No, that's great.
You're
That's
right, I didn't think about that.
all. Yeah, I thought about that, just wanted to double check on it.
Okay, anything else on this application?
Signature, so those must be the signatures, I guess they can count for signatures.
That's what mine looks like anyways.
And then just a general question, I don't know, is there any entertainment, and has there been an entertainment permit? Is there going to be any live
So
entertainment?
we might, I think what I'll do is fill out the application and probably come to the next meeting on the 15th or the 6th. And do that then. And then probably next year just try to do it all together.
Great. All those in favor of approving the liquor license renewal application for the Downtown Buffalo Bed and Breakfast LLC? Excellent. It is approved. Thank you. 11B, to see if the board will approve the application for automobile graveyard junkyard permit for Todd Wilson on the Gore Road. The permit will expire November 1st, 2025.
Before I move it, is that correct, November 1st, 2025?
That, I do not know, that would be John's.
Do you have the
The actual permit.
application?
I was trying to remember, because we did the junkyard last year, and I do think it's like an extended permit as opposed to an annual, but I can't remember how long.
And was it one last meeting or 2 meetings ago?
Yeah,
It was just
it's
one.
Bridge Road, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
2020.
It was 1 year.
Did we get that? Did we get this application in our packet?
No, we did not see it.
And where is the Gore Road? In Bethel.
I was wondering that too.
Where is the
Yeah.
road?
Yeah, I just asked that.
Oh.
You had to ask.
Isn't that the road that the American Legion Hall is on?
No,
Yeah.
Greenwood, Greenwood.
It-
At the other
it's-
end
it's-
is, at the other end is Bethel.
Is it the Gore Road at the other end?
Oh, but
Yeah.
not the other side of the street.
The side on
Because
this
then the
one.
other side of the street is Greenwood
Yeah,
again.
right,
The
yeah.
two
I remember, it zoops in
The
because it's like
232
half of
side,
Christie's Crops is Bethel.
the 232 side is Bethel.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's actually, so Christie's Crops, half of her homestead, like her and her parents, half of it is in Bethel and half of it is in Greenwood.
So, can I just say something? Maybe what we could do is you could, we could move this for the next meeting, and John's gonna be here,
Okay.
and then I'll have him go over this to make sure his date is right,
Yep,
because this is, appears to be 2 years, there's one missing, and then he can explain it.
okay.
Great, thank you.
So I'll make a motion to table this
Yes.
until the
11:15.
11:15 meeting for John to explain it all to us.
Second?
All those in favor? Table. Okay, see, that has been fixed. Alright, so 11C, to see if the board will vote to remove Natalie Andrews from the town Bethel accounts with Norway Savings Bank, Northeast Bank, the Androscoggin Bank, and add Sharon Jackson, and to sign the account agreement documents for Norway Savings Bank. Do you wanna give us a little rundown on what this is?
Do we have to?
We'd have to-
I was just gonna have her introduce it, but it's okay.
So, Amy submitted requests to the 3 different banks. In order for someone's name to come off, the selectmen have to do that approval and to put anyone new on the same. So, when this first one came in from Norway Savings Bank, we didn't have everything back from all of them. So now we know it has to be done the same way for all of them, so that's why the revision tonight to the language. This is to take Natalie's, because Natalie's name is still on all of them until this is approved.
Fancy.
And that actually we should have done the first week after. This motion will give us the authority to notify the banks that her name will come off and mine will come on. And we do have the paperwork tonight from Norway Savings Bank that will take her name off when it goes back tomorrow. And you have to sign, there are, I don't know, maybe 7 or 8 accounts that we have with Norway Savings Bank. And you'll sign that paperwork tonight. And then we're in the process of getting the paperwork from Northeast and Androscoggin.
Okay. Your motion?
So move.
Second?
Any comment on this?
Just in general, or maybe we can get the answer for like our next meeting. There's 7 or 8 accounts for Norway Savings Bank. Do we know how many accounts do we have at the other banks?
Yes, we do, and I will have that on a spreadsheet for you next week. When you sign those documents tonight from Norway Savings, it does state the exact account on each one, but next week I'll have those on a spreadsheet to show that, and it will also show the accounts that are at the other 2 banks and the amounts that are balances in those.
Thank you.
My only thought is, do we have like a list or a policy in place for when people are offboarding to make sure that things like this don't get missed for extended periods of time? Because Natalie's been gone for a considerable amount of time for her name just to
I don't know if there's a policy here. I can look to see if there is something in the codes book. But what I can do is I can also put something together for that if there isn't.
Yeah, I think that would be more comfortable.
Or just, I mean,
best
are
practice,
there other accounts that have Natalie's name?
These are the only 3 financial institutions. The other areas that Natalie's name will appear on will be like authorization on several other accounts that we're working on taking those names off now.
Okay. Excellent. So it's something to
I mean,
consider.
some, in doing this, I found Loretta's still on,
Yeah.
so we're working through all of that.
Maybe there's just, like, can you have like a form that lists all
Mhm.
the accounts and then
I'm
we
a
just
list
vote
girl.
once and then like sign it and all those things
Yes.
get changed.
So we can do that.
All right, excellent. On that note, is everyone ready to vote? Okay, all those in favor? Unanimous.
Did you have a motion?
Yes, we did, and a second, and it was on the floor, and now we voted, and it was approved. Look at that. All right, 11C is done. 11D, to see if the board will vote to approve the town stop paying the sewer on empty Ethel Bisbee lot. So, my understanding is the water got shut off, but the sewer never kind of matched. And sewer is based on water capacity, so feels pretty open shut to me.
We're still getting a sewer bill, so we want you to approve that we do not get a sewer bill.
This is standard operating procedure. Everyone's treated the same.
As long as you're connected,
Yeah.
you get at least the minimum charge.
Aaron?
Why does the board have to vote to check this out?
Because this is a town property, so anything having to do with real property, we have to do.
Yep.
In particular, to narrow it down even more, it's, has to do with the sewer fees, and it's reported to the select board. Overseas.
So if water's being used, say, for that nursery, does that
It's not.
Yeah, it's actually coming out of the hydrant,
Oh.
so there's no spigot there that they're using, and I asked the same question, so it's a really valid one. If they were using a spigot, then yes, they'd have to also be using sewer, but because they're using a fire hydrant, we pay for the fire hydrants as we learned in the last one. So since those are being paid for, we don't need to do the sewer. Okay?
Just a reminder, if anything gets built on there, then
We'd have to-
they would come for the impact fees.
So
Okay.
I make a motion that we approve the town of stop paying the sewer on an empty FO Bisbee lot.
Second.
Excellent. Any other comment on this? All those in favor? Alright. Hooray. We're not paying those we don't need to. 11E.
But I don't think you just did that correctly. Because all you did is say you're not gonna pay the bill. You need to
No.
terminate the account so that the sewer district part does not keep continuing to bill you. Because you're paying a bill that you're getting, and you need to terminate the,
No, I stopped paying for the sewer on the empty
Right.
FOS lot.
but you have to terminate the account, not just say, we get a bill, we don't have to pay anymore.
Well, that's not what the motion says. The motion says,
And that's why I say it's not correct. Because what you just voted for is not to pay a bill you get, rather than terminating the account for a property that does not receive the service.
Well, we wouldn't be canceling the town's account.
Yes.
yeah,
Yes,
we
you
would
are.
be terminating the account. Yeah.
But that's a big difference
It's a separate
between
account, yeah.
saying, I'm not paying this bill, and
Yes.
terminating the account.
So I would, can you rescind?
I can rescind my motion.
Thank you, Candace.
I rescind my motion to vote to approve the town stop paying the sewer on the empty FO Bisbee lot, and amend it
Terminate the account.
I vote to approve the town to terminate the account, the sewer account on the FO Bisbee lot.
And I would add on to it, because you still have to abate the $210
Yeah.
that we received, and abate the $210 on the 10-1 bill date.
Great.
Second.
All those in favor? Okay. Now we're going to 11E to see if the board will approve to continue with Trio web upgrade for the hosted solution and authorize the town manager to sign the quote acceptance for $4,000.
So moved.
Second? Okay. Can you give us a little rundown of this?
Yes, last week I received an email from Allison Melcher, who is the senior account manager for the Trio Harris software program we have. And back in 2019-20, the town actually did and paid for the upgrade for this, but then didn't pursue it and have the rest of the work done to actually change our website from the SQL version to the hosted version. And when I got the email, it called for the balance of $7,000 and change to be paid. But after I did some research on it, I found out that we had already paid $3,300 on it, so it had already been started. And that was under, when Loretta Powers was here. I don't know why it stopped, they don't know why it stopped. But they're going to be phasing out their SQL version of Trio within the next couple of years. And so they sent the letter out to all of the towns who hadn't done this yet. And it upgrades the program to be far more efficiently operated. And this was done back in 2019 and 20, and there were a lot of bugs in the system at that time. They've really gotten all of them out now, so probably that's the only advantage to not having gone so the balance that we would have to pay is $4,000. And the main reason that they sent the letter out was because January 1st, they're going to be having a price increase. And anyone who signs on now will be able to have the price in effect now and will not have the increase. And right now, they're booked for November to do this. And when I talked to her 2 weeks ago, they were booked through the end of December. So I don't know where she is now. Once we approve this, then they can get us on the schedule, and then that can be done then. So probably we would be looking at sometime in January that this would happen.
Since it's been so long, do we know if it was budgeted or included in any budget, or would
It
it
was
overdraft
not.
something?
It would have to come out of contract services.
Okay, and is there money in there, or will we get an overdraft from that?
I don't know until I get to looking at all of it, because there were just
Yeah, the headers.
there were just headers for what was budgeted, so I'll have to take a look at, what has to be paid out of each of those account lines.
Okay.
Can you tell if it's just basically an upgrade to prevent an end of life of the operating system? Or will it offer other features like electronic purchase orders?
I don't know the answer to that, I'd have to find out. But all of the features are improved features from what we have now. Some of the offerings now we don't have, so it improves the program a lot.
Okay.
And then once it's phased out, we're not gonna have any choice at that point, and by then there will be a lot of increases.
Okay. Are we ready to vote, or any other questions? Yep. No, Michelle didn't.
Michelle, you're all set.
Frank,
No, I'm ready to vote.
are you ready to vote? All those in favor?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Alright, so now we're getting into our list. 11F to see if the board will approve the terms of the memorandum of understanding that requires the town to maintain services for 3 years after the initial 2-year period.
And this is related to,
The EMS connectivity grant.
I make a motion that we approve the terms of the memorandum of understanding that requires the town to maintain services for 3 years after the initial 2-year period.
I'll second it.
Okay. Dave, do you want to
Sure.
explain what this is gonna cost us?
Sure. So last time I was before you, we had received the initial operational bulletin, and they told us how they were going to pay for the first 2 years and what the cost was projected to be after that. No mention of us having to maintain it for any period of time after that. Ironically, the exact day after the last board meeting, as Dave on this email, they sent us an update and told us that because the durable life of the equipment was 5 years and they were paying for the equipment through the grant, the expectation was that services who signed on to this would pay for the 3 additional years in order to get the full durable life of the equipment. So there's the rub. If there's good news out of all of this, if you chose to do it in the original operational bulletin, they had quoted us what they, at that time, expected the price to be, which worked out to about $4,500 a year. And in the new update, the number has changed, and it is now expected to cost $3,047.52 per year. So
3,000.
$3,047.52.
So it went down.
So
Very
So
fast.
saving money.
they got very specific and knocked it down,
Okay.
not quite $1,500 a
Okay.
year. Happy to try and answer more questions. I did ask whoever it was that brought up the space constraint question,
Oh,
and
the
we were
antenna.
told that the antenna is approximately 3.5 inches high, and if they can't put it on top of the box, they can potentially put it on top of the cab, which gains us another $1.5 of it.
Super.
So, space, we don't believe is gonna be an issue. They will verify that before they mount it, so
Alright,
that we don't crash.
that's good.
And I believe too, it did say in the documents that they're still looking at options to obtain more grants, so that for those 3 years, there may
Yep.
be grants available to end up funding this.
So in the MOU, they say they're committed to trying to get the cost down on this, but because they don't have a hard commitment, they don't wanna promise anything. But they very much indicate that their goal is to try and, get the cost down as much as they can. And they think they might be able to do that through possibly, Department of Transportation money or something,
Sure,
like that.
okay,
They're seeing this very much as a safety
yeah.
thing, so.
I
Candace?
think you're gonna have to consult with legal on this, because I've run into this in other towns before. We ran into the same thing with COPS grants, where the town was on the hook for years past the grant fund years. And those towns could not do it because you folks cannot commit the town to expenditures beyond the fiscal year approved by the voters. So if the voters have not approved the expenditure, you can't commit them. And this would commit the voters, it would commit the town to expenditures for 3 years beyond the grant. So that would be committing the voters to forking over the bucks to fund it for 3 years after.
Yeah.
So, you can actually do this. I'm familiar with what you're talking about, but towns accept the COPS grants, and you have to commit, after you get a COPS grant for 5 years, you have to commit to that 6th year to budget that. And every law firm you ask is gonna have a different opinion of this, and you can't commit future boards to what prior boards do.
It's not future boards, you can't commit
I understand that, it is also.
voter money without the.
That's
Okay.
right, but you can still,
Yeah.
you can still authorize this and vote to approve this.
We can't do anything, everything we do is in the future anyway,
That's right.
everything we do. And we're committing our town to a future, the sewer plant is a case in point, everything's, so I'm comfortable with this.
Okay, do you have any other questions or comments from the board?
When do we receive this?
So basically what, the place that will do the install has already reached out to me and said, hey, we noticed that you were potentially interested in this. They're now waiting for us to say, yep, we're all in agreement to go. At that point, the install company will commit a date to the MOU that we've agreed to, and then it goes to Maine EMS. Maine EMS puts their signature on it, and at that point, it gets scheduled for whatever date the install company told us.
So fairly soon,
It-
relatively soon.
I would
yeah,
expect,
yeah,
like, I don't know what their backlog is, but it's not like a year out.
Right,
It's
so,
whatever scheduling time would be.
yeah, thanks.
And I apologize that, like I say, literally the day after, I was like, are you kidding me? I just got approval for this. So,
As long as
Sorry to
that
do
antenna fits, man.
And who's gonna be the one to find out if there are grants that we're gonna be able to use?
So Maine EMS is working on it. If we wanted to, as a town, look into it, I assume that we could do that, but Maine EMS in their memorandum has said that they actively are working on it on their end, so
And
at the very least, they're working on it.
with this particular grant, are there Is there, just for my knowledge, are there like quarterly reports that you need to fill out that will take your time?
So the two things in the MOU that jump out at me are we have to enact a local policy saying that our people will use it appropriately.
Okay,
And then there is a provision that we will supply them with information about our successes and challenges. They don't specify in here if that's quarterly, monthly, but there will be some sort of reporting that we're expected to do.
and you're comfortable with taking that task on?
Yeah. Because they're, the way the EMS works, they're going to require me to report.
And,
And
yeah. Okay, are we ready to vote on this matter?
Yes.
All right, all those in favor? Excellent.
thank you. Second.
Thanks.
See you next week.
Yeah, see you at the next one.
See you in the future. Okay, so now we are on new business, 11G, to see if the board will approve the Town of Bethel Town Manager Employee Agreement. The edits on it were, we fixed some typos, fixed a date, added time of travel, travel and mileage, and struck something from the termination that felt important. Oh, that we would need to, we the town would have to write a 30-day notice of termination or intent to not extend a contract. We just took it out.
Can we look at it?
Do you wanna see it?
Sure.
Yeah. Yes, Erin, I'm sorry.
While she's looking at it,
Yeah.
are those available for the public? And I'm gonna tack this on, maybe they're separate.
Yeah.
A lot of the stuff you mentioned, Sharon, in your report, is that available for the public, like the Oxford County Sheriff's Report and some of the other things? I don't see them on
Not-
any of the packets online, so.
They just came in, I just printed them off this
Okay.
afternoon
Okay.
about 4:30.
Okay.
That's
So
why.
like they would be available
Yes,
if like time permits.
yes.
Okay.
And an employment contract is public information.
But a FOIA request. Is that a FOIA request?
You go through a town manager,
Yes.
if you,
Yep.
if you're looking for any information, public information, you just put a request in through the town manager, even as informal as that, asking for it.
Oh yeah, a FOIA. Be like, I would like this, town manager.
Got it. Okay.
It's essentially the same contract as we had in executive session with just the edits that we talked about.
The only thing crossed out on that, and because I didn't have Betsy's original document to change, is the signing date is November 1st instead of October 26th.
Because it is November 1st, not October 26th.
And yes, the Oxford County Sheriff's Office report has already been redacted with confidential information.
Can I request something?
It is juicy.
Yeah, I'd like a copy of that.
Wait,
Oh,
you're
boy.
saying you're not allowed to, the public is not allowed to?
No,
see
they
it?
are, it just has to be a
No,
redacted
it's
version.
public information.
So a different version of the list.
The version you have is
No.
redacted.
Right, the black on ours is the redacted bit.
If you give me your names, I can, we'll get you copies.
Email or just name or? Yeah, address, I don't know what you mean.
We
Like,
can
if
just
you
wait
all-
after the
Aaron?
meeting. How about that?
Erin, you can just come. accurate in my own knowledge. Are you ready? Pat, are you ready? Okay. All those in favor? Oh, I thought we did.
No, we didn't. I'll move to approve the town manager, the town of Bethel town manager employment agreement.
I'll second it.
All those in favor? Alright, there you go. Thank you. Just want to sign it? Sure. Go ahead. Get it done, so you can't back
Well,
out.
you've gotta sign a lot for this week.
I'm just locking her in, you know? Okay, G. H is the LG 2003? Okay. So 11H, new business, to make a motion to send, the ORC permission to start working on the LD, 2003 code.
So this is something the state of Maine sent down to us.
Let's get it on the table.
Oh, okay, I thought we did. Pardon me.
Well, I made the motion, I need a second.
I'll second.
Who's second?
It was everybody?
Michelle did.
Okay, sorry, Frank, go
So
on.
this is something that the LD 2003
Yes,
is something, it's a mandate from the state
correct,
that now we're fulfilling our obligation to that mandate.
exactly.
Okay.
It was just a FYI, it was supposed to go into effect this year,
July first,
July
2023. It went into law
and-
July first,
For
2022.
some reason, it hasn't been done and we're catching up.
Yeah, so
Correct.
they've actually, the good thing is they've extended it to next year.
Yes.
I think many towns kind of missed it.
Okay.
Well, there was like a hefty amount of laws that
Yes.
became real this year. But another thing just to note on this is just referring it to our ORC to start pulling it together, getting the skeletons. John, our CEO, is also gonna do some research on this and support ORC as they're creating that statute, or that code.
Did the state send us something to work on it? Or-
They have, and there's a couple of towns that are very similar to us that we're gonna copy.
Okay. Yeah, okay. We don't have to, we don't have to invent it, it's already
And
been
not
on.
inventing this thing is way too big to invent.
So we have to have our own ordinance
Yeah.
to meet that stuff.
Yeah,
It
yes.
required, and I can't remember, and Sherry can plug in on it, if we don't do it,
Fine.
we're fined and
Will be,
something,
yes.
there's a bunch of stuff if we
Right.
don't do it.
This is part of our,
Yeah.
part of the game.
Sharon passed
Yeah,
out this
it
at
is,
the meeting,
yeah.
at our executive meeting, I believe. Wasn't it the
Yeah,
executive?
yes.
that
Yes.
passed out? It gives you a breakdown of what
What
it's
it
about,
is.
kind of what it's about.
It was brought to my attention, I don't know, 6, 8 months ago, and I set it on the side, forgot all about it, along with everybody else.
Okay,
Seems perfectly reasonable.
alright, so all those in favor to refer this to ORC? Excellent. Jim, you got it.
Palmer.
Something to do. 11I is our motion to pay the $1,680 bill from TD Architect for the feasibility study that was contracted in October of 2019.
So moved.
Nailed it.
Second.
Second, alright, so it's on the table, do you wanna give us?
So I received an email last week from, Susan Dickerson, who is, the husband and wife team who have TD Architect. And basically she was sending the bill for the 1680. She said they were contracted back in October of 2019. They did the feasibility study and they realized about, when I called her, she told me that they realized about 6 weeks ago, they found out that the building had been demolished And so all they wanted to do now was to be paid for the services they rendered. They had not submitted a bill prior to this. And there is no money budgeted for this. This would also come out of the contract services account. And then we'll have to work on that, see what that account is as the year progresses.
Oh, wait, you have the
It would be
report
on-
of what they did?
Yes, it's
It's
in your
attached.
packet. It's on the back side of in that package there.
I was actually wondering about this way back when, because they produced this. Did not see a contract at the time. They did come to a couple of meetings. They'd always been accessible for questions. And in your memo, that's true, Sharon, that you found that it was at the time, it was transferred to Manager Powers to investigate funding sources. So one of these paths could be taken. And I'd always wondered for the time that they put in, and no action ever being taken on it, that to pay them something for their time.
Yeah.
And nothing ever came up at the time, so it must have been tied to whatever, the eventuality, whatever that building was,
Right.
which I didn't know that at the time, so. But they did put in work, they were accessible to the town, and these were the two proposals that they had.
Right.
And they did give these proposals way back.
Yes, in 2020.
Yeah, I mean, and they attended a couple meetings when we had questions. And then the path for either one of these, the next step was asking Manager Powers at the time to see what funding sources there were out there. And then the rest is history. There wasn't any action on that, and so it's since been demolished.
It was February 2021 that they had submitted all of the information that I just sent you. And they were just waiting. And so,
They did go back and look at the notes, and this feasibility study was put forth by the select board, so we did agree to move forward with this.
I just felt it was better to bring it to you so that you could approve it, because this all happened several years ago.
It's nice to have closure to it.
Yeah, and for them too. Maybe a thanks for being so patient and yelling at us. Does anybody else have any comment or questions regarding this, or are we ready to vote? Ready? Okay, all those in favor of paying this bill?
Thank you.
Thank you for bringing it to our attention. We are, oh my goodness, we're in warrants. Warrant 12A, to see if the board will vote to approve accounts payable warrant 2024-18 in the amount of $1,428,476.20.
Make a motion that we approve the accounts payable warrant 2024-18 in the amount of $128,476.20.
Second. Any notes on this one? Go ahead.
Well, I was, so when on the, I think it's waste. Yeah, the September waste service, the total is almost $60,000. And so that's what we're paying roughly every month for waste.
Can you, what's the
Oh,
page?
sorry.
One is-
Am I on the right one?
18?
Yeah.
Yep, what page?
It's, sorry, second page, in the very first box. But I think it's summing things from the.
You can give it a line number, line number? It would be 0239 maybe?
I think I was just looking at the vendor total,
Okay.
59,995. Do you see that?
Yes, that's what we pay for, the recycling bill.
That's recycling and trash.
Oh, vendor okay,
Yes.
on page 3, got it,
Yeah.
got it, got it.
But that's
I
like-
understand.
Trips,
All
recycle,
all
trips metal,
Yeah,
Tipping fees.
yeah,
gives you explanations.
yeah. But we're, that's like what we're paying everyone.
Not necessarily, I don't believe.
I think it fluctuates a little bit,
Yeah,
it's all
right,
based
yeah,
on weight.
yeah. I was just wondering if.
It goes by the trips,
Yeah.
so it's hard to say.
I was just wondering if we ever just discuss like ways to reduce that.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we can bring it up in select board items, but our town does pay tipping fees for all the restaurants, which is a little peculiar.
So that is,
Yeah.
that's with Casella Waste.
Yeah.
We have a contract with them. So, what I will do is I'll pull a contract and I will see, the number of years we have with them and when we are in that contract. And usually, it's based on tonnage and,
I think we did just.
I don't know, but I'll pull it, I know right where it is, so I'll pull it. And, I can have a report on the 15th
Okay,
to tell you what the current costs are for the various things they're going.
I mean, is that useful to have before we have that meeting at 5 o'clock with the other town, like or is that different, that's more just the relationship between the three?
It's useful to have that
Well, it is.
information beforehand,
Yeah.
and it's going to be information, I'm going to guess, that that committee is going to want to have as they formulate what our next moves are. And also, as they formulate percentages of what we pay, in the agreement. So I think the crux of having all that information available to the committee will be helpful, and of course, us knowing what our agreement is helpful too, so. I'm hopeful that we're gonna see more information on this, going forward and work done on it.
Did I understand correctly what you just said? That the taxpayers, that the townspeople are paying the dumpster solid waste for the restaurants?
well, we pay tipping fees,
For the restaurants,
yes.
but not for any other business, just restaurants?
No, for
Any
all
of
the
the
dumpsters.
Everybody.
Everybody
Any of the
dumpsters.
dumpsters
Yeah.
around town.
Yes,
Okay.
all dumpsters.
So can we get our dumpster?
Well, it's not, yeah,
It's not the rental.
it's not the rental, yeah, we don't pay
It's
that.
not the rental.
It's not the rental fee for the dumpster that you have.
It's for the
Yeah,
dump.
It's
it's for them
the,
to pick it up.
it's for the dump truck to pick it up, it's for
Yeah.
the truck to pick it up and haul it and dispose of it.
You're only paying to have that dumpster,
There.
not for what's in it, just
Yeah.
for having that dumpster.
However, you are a taxpayer, and that's across the board, just like any other
But
taxpayer.
what I'm saying is, she gets a bill every month for the dumpster
For
only,
the
not
dumpster, correct.
for what's in it.
Yeah, my understanding from other businesses is they're paid by the weight.
No,
No,
And from other businesses, they're getting a weight plus,
wrong.
no.
plus the container, I've seen the bills. So it's not everybody.
I've seen all those.
But I will certainly let people know that it should go into the town and not to them.
I mean, if you rent a personal dumpster, then you have a
That could be.
personal bill, that's your.
For the dumpster itself, but you're saying that the town is taking care of the rest of it, the tipping fee.
The tipping fee, yes.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, yeah.
I've had, seen people's bills where they're paying by the,
Well,
for the tipping fees too, by
it depends on
the weight.
the use.
It's hard for us to
Yeah.
comment, it's hard for us to come.
Yeah,
comment
okay.
on hearsay.
I'll
Okay.
I'll send you an email. Anyways, any other comment on this? No? Alright, all those in favor of approving and signing accounts payable warrant 2024-18, Josh, you go. Okay. 12B, to see if the board will vote to approve accounts payable warrant 2024-19 in the amount of $82,752.83.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions on this one? Excuse me.
I have one question, maybe Sharon, you can help me understand on the fourth page, number 01409, and I'm probably not gonna pronounce it correctly, Core Logic Centralized Refunds. It has refund and tax payments, comes under the general fund miscellaneous clearing.
So what that is CoreLogic is a company that collects taxes from all of the companies who, their mortgages are paid. So when they send us thousands of dollars, and the list shows whose taxes they're paying because they have escrow.
Oh.
And so what happens is, like if they sent one that was in your name, but you already paid it, we send that back. So that check was $17,000 worth of tax payments that were sent back to CoreLogic because the taxes were already paid.
Gotcha. Is it
So-
normally that amount, or
It
is
can
this
be
kind
that,
of, it can
yes.
be that, okay.
It can be more, it can be less. It depends because it usually happens with property owners who are just new and they're setting their accounts up for escrow.
Mhm.
So there's kind of like a cross that year, but that's what happens with that.
Great, thank you.
People that have small mental breakdown when they get their tax bill, because they're like, it's supposed to be an escrow, like me, and then who almost pay it, and then my husband goes, don't do that, stupid, and I'm like, oh,
I agree.
got it.
Or people whose escrow payers pay late and they have a small mental
Yeah.
breakdown because they like
Emotional
above-
breakdown, could we
above
just
the
take?
board.
Or their escrow doesn't bother us.
Yeah. Okay, so are we all set on that one? All those in favor of approving warrant 2024-19? Excellent. Last one is supplemental C, which was, where are you? Where'd you go? Here. Yes, I do. Thank you so much. Right at the top. Top one. Oh, well, I already folded that page. Alright, warrants 12 here, to see if the board will vote to approve accounts payable warrant 2024-20 in the amount of $42,500.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, and again, this is the plowing bid, the deposit, so it's 50%.
So this was the first contract that you did for airport plowing. It was a 3-year contract, and this was the first year of it. And the first payment, the total for the contract for this season was $85,000. So half had to be paid November 1st, the other half April 1st. And they sent a bill last week, and this was something that was just got lost in the shuffle and never got to where it was supposed to be. So I did call the company, and after the finance clerk brought this to my attention, and then they'll pick up the check either tomorrow or Friday. But we had to issue this on a separate warrant so that we could pay this so that it was due, because it's due today.
On your note here, it says the second installment will be due April 1st, 2023.
That's an error on my part.
Okay.
It's
Supposed to be
typo.
24?
It should be 2024.
Any other questions? Alright, all those in favor? Excellent. Unanimous. Select board items. Do we have any select board items?
Just wanted clarification on what Sherry came and spoke to us about last meeting as far as the board member Mitch, I don't remember his last name. We got his letter of resignation after that meeting, I believe.
Is it
And
a
At the
resignation or
Right.
leave of absence?
Leave of absence. And so, where do we stand with that situation as far as him requesting that he can still stay on the board? as a leave of absence.
Yeah, forgot to take minutes.
What I remember from last week was that he would take his leave of absence, that, it would still go out for, Peter Southern was gonna put in an application that was also gonna be open to other individuals who might like to put that application in. At this point, we had received Peter Southern's application, we have not, gotten it out to, the general public yet. But that will be in the works, I was just trying to work with Sharon to figure out how to do that, because it'll be in conjunction with the other board and committee vacancies. Courtney McPherson, who is the, planning board assistant, said there's only gonna be one more planning board meeting between now and the end of the year. So that takes a little of the pressure off of getting someone in there immediately, because there's only, she had nothing for next month's agenda at this point, and then there is only one meeting in December because of holidays, and there's only one meeting in November because of holidays. So it would really be coming into January that you would need that person in place, because that's when the meetings will get back up again, I'm assuming.
And that's what's basically in the minutes.
So at this point, we have Peter's application, I put it on Sharon's desk, and then, we'll just need to.
And when is the announcement for the vacancies, when is that gonna be posted?
At this point in time, I'm waiting for I put together the ad and I've asked the citizen to give me a quote on what it would be to put it in 2 weeks, for 2 consecutive rounds of the citizen. Once I get that back and talk with Sharon, we will, I'm assuming, okay, that it will go in the next 2 meetings. I've indicated that I would like to have any interested applications back, I think it was December 4th, which is before the first meeting in December, and then that gives us both board meetings in December to review and look at whatever applications we have that come in at that point, for the board to make their decisions regarding the vacancies. And I will also go onto our Facebook page and to our website page. I'll post it, on the front window like I normally do,
Okay,
and it will be in the paper.
great.
So it gets cut. Just something to consider. It gets cut a little bit because of Thanksgiving week, for the holiday, and since we usually like to have the applications in like the Friday before meeting, so that puts you at the end of November, it might cut short, so.
I can move it to the Friday before.
I'm fine with the Friday before the next meeting in December, if that gives a little more time for the
The
flow.
second meeting?
Okay.
Yeah,
So you
because,
just the 20th to consider, because you have the meeting on the 6th, then I think
Yeah.
it's the 20th.
yeah, I would like to
Okay.
give it a
I
lot
can
of
do that.
time.
I think
Yeah.
that's fair, yeah, I think the time is necessary.
I just didn't know if you wanted 2 full meetings to consider, but if you want, I can move it so it would be the Friday before the meeting on the 20th.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that'd be great, give it a lot of time.
Mhm.
I'm trying to get more interest.
Yeah. Okay.
Now,
Yeah, Jim, I'm sorry.
So we're getting all vacancies for.
Yes.
Yeah, ones that are coming due, as well as those that are vacant at this point.
And there is a list, is there a list current on the website now? It's
There,
not
I
current,
have
but
not
it's
put it-
on the, there is a list.
There's a list of vacancies that are vacancies, that does not include the ones that people are coming on in December yet.
Okay, okay, I got you.
That will be updated to include that,
Okay,
Yeah,
but right now the one on the website is just those that are open at this moment.
okay, excellent.
And the list you gave us tonight says vacancies, expire 10/31/23. And that's not
Oh, I'm
true.
sorry, my mistake, it should be 12.
Well,
It's December, I was doing that when I was doing things with the, ballots too, I kept making it 10/23, 12/23 because of Christmas and didn't do it quickly. So yes, there are the vacancies at the December 31st.
that's what I thought.
Along those lines, I was kind of thinking, I was wondering if we could possibly like add a question or two to the application, and like, I don't know, I just remember when we voted, I think it was my very first meeting or second meeting, we voted on some positions, but it felt like there wasn't quite enough, or I didn't, like,
Not enough information.
specific, like, why do you, it was more like, why do you want, I forget what the question is, it's sort of like, why do you wanna do this, and most people are like, oh, I wanna serve my town, but I feel like if the question could be more like, why do you wanna be on this specific committee, just so we, or I don't know, I'm saying this without having the application in front of me,
It
but
says, please indicate why you'd like to serve.
serve, right, but maybe
That's
serve on a
pretty
specific
much.
committee or something.
So you'd like to look at the form?
I can get everybody a copy, so just.
Yeah, I don't know, it may be too late to do it for this round, but I was just thinking like
No, it's
having,
something,
because then we nominate somebody, like, we nominate one person at a time, right, so if we vote on the first person, I just feel like I wanted to know more about each person, or can we ask them to come to the meeting and talk, or something like that, about why they want to be on it? I don't,
One good practice you could have is anyone who submits an application to be on a committee, they have to come to that meeting.
yeah.
Yeah, that's something that's never been, addressed and are informed of the people who are sending in applications. They don't know that they should be at the meeting.
Right, they may not even know when we're meeting.
I think
unless
that's
they
the
look
big
it up.
And it could be a practice that you start anyone who is coming up for an appointment. They would get a call and say it's going to be on the agenda December 20th for your appointment, and could you be there? And I can tell you this, selectmen do not appoint anyone for a committee if they're not there. So that gives you an opportunity to actually see a person if you don't know who they are and ask any questions.
And that does make sense, but like you said, it hasn't been our practice here to do that.
yeah, it's,
If you wanna
I
do
mean,
that,
people
we
who
can-
say, well, if they're not here, then we're not gonna vote on them, but I don't think that that's fair if they don't have the knowledge that they're supposed to be here.
Yeah.
They're always welcome to come, but it hasn't been a mandatory stipulation of the application that they would be considered.
Here.
I fall into that category. At the time when I applied for the ordinance review committee, I did not know when I would be voted on, and I really wasn't plugged in
Yeah,
to the news to follow all of that. So.
but your application was impressive. I remember.
The last time you did this,
Candace, yes.
you had people here who had put in for things
Uh-huh,
that showed up,
okay,
and their names were never even brought up. People were put in who were not here.
okay.
So
Yeah, so maybe we
it's
just do
kind
it
of
like-
screwy that now all of a sudden you think people should come, because when they did come before, you completely ignored them.
Okay.
No, I think I felt like that it did, I mean, I literally was my second, maybe first or second meeting, so
Yeah,
it all takes time to sort, but it was something that bothered me, that
Yeah.
I was like, I feel like that wasn't, it didn't feel like a fair process to me, like I wanna hear everybody's story first and then nominate, but it seemed like we nominated and then made a decision before.
Well, we can also, as a board, determine a process that works best for us, and we can discuss that beforehand. I mean, that was part of the whole policy and procedure, is to have this written down so that we knew what we were doing before we sat down. And it's always, I have always felt a little like, not sure how to broach the selection of people for committees and appointments, and completely base my personal decisions on people's applications and or just my general knowledge of them in the first place.
Or maybe we have like a rubric or something that we use to, score those.
Is that something you'd be interested in working on?
Sure.
Could you?
Yeah.
Sweet. That'd be awesome. It would be nice to be able to hand everybody, like, this is how we're doing this, and it feels fair and consistent. I think that's totally reasonable.
And then I think also, I remember when I got selected to the Conservation Commission, that, Peter came home and told me, oh, you got chosen, but I never got official.
I think we did address that at one of the meetings to not only like tell people, but also to tell people when their appointments are coming up, like their terms are expiring, which has never happened before, and I think Jess said that she was doing that,
The letters are going out tomorrow.
which is
Yeah.
exciting and
Yeah.
fresh and new.
There's some best practices that
Yeah.
have gotten dropped along the way, but yes, there, last year, when I was on the committee, I did get a note from the clerk at the time saying about the appointment was the day after the meeting, and also what the next steps were in order to be, in checked for it too. So, it's had it,
Yeah, I think I didn't know that
That should go
either,
out to
and then,
everybody,
Yeah, I think
for
when it,
any committee, and
There's something to be said for volunteerism too. I don't think I'd wanna make it so, stringent.
no, I know that,
You
yeah,
know,
I understand.
there may be
that,
somebody who might not have experience in a particular area, but they're enthusiastic for it and are aligned for it and the commitment to it, so I wouldn't wanna discourage any of that.
But also just them understanding, oh, the rec department meets on Tuesdays at the state, is maybe like, oh, they get on the board and they're like, oh, I can't come on Tuesdays or something, you know, I just.
yeah,
that kind of thing.
yeah, that's smart. And the only other thing that I had is, I would like to reconsider or to consider, maybe, looking at some of our contracted services and seeing if there's really a return on investment for what we're paying. Specifically the HR consultant and, potentially looking at other options for lawyers too. Just to kind of revisit who's available, what they're doing. I know that, Sharon, with her work on the Oxford select board, she receives this packet from their lawyers with all the new LDs and like what you need to do as a select board to be in compliance with the state, and I just feel like that is just the most awesome thing in the world, and I would love to have a lawyer for our town that would kind of support the select board as we move into being in compliance and trying to kind of unravel all the things. And then as far as consulting, HR consulting, I think we spend a lot of money doing things like job postings, which I feel could be done more inexpensively in-house, and there's so many free resources available to us to kind of use that. And I don't know what the full amount is that we've spent on that contract, or not contract, but that contracted service. But I think it would be worth exploring and looking into other options and potentially keeping money in the budget for specific instances, but not for, as a retainer for whenever there's a job posting. I feel like it kind of runs up the works and makes things difficult when there's no one in the office that's receiving applications, I think. And things get lost in translation, and I think it just muddies the water a little bit. So those are my two thoughts. We don't have to do anything about them today. I just wanted everyone to think about it, and maybe we can put it on a future agenda to actually talk about what we'd like to do, especially as we're going into budget season.
I think that goes hand in hand with the work that Sharon's doing to identify all the contracts that we have.
Yeah.
And
Who gets to
definitely
know?
professional services of anything is comes under that, so.
Okay. Any other select board items for the evening?
Just a big thank you to Sherry for
Yeah.
all that you've done.
Yeah, thank you very much.
It's been awesome. It's been really great to.
Make motion to adjourn.
Second?
All those in favor? Oh yeah.
Remember, don't move. Signature.
So close. Thanks, Jeff.
Where is it?